Alright, so number 3. It says, which of the above transformations, so that's referring to this one, would result in a figure that is either congruent or similar to the original? So what this is basically trying to ask you, if you have a dilation and both things get multiplied by the same scale factor, that's proportional, which means it's either congruent or similar, okay? If it's multiplied by different things, then it's no longer proportional because you didn't keep the same shape. So when it's asking which is congruent or similar, it's asking which ones have the same coefficient, basically. So A has the same coefficient, B does, and so does D. But notice on C that it's 3x 2y. So that's your clue that this is something that is not proportional. Okay. Okay. Number 4. So this would be A, B, and D. All right, number 4. A scale factor of 0.5x and 0.5y will result in, so this is asking, so here's the word bank, proportional, non-proportional, enlargement, or reduction. So if it's less than 1, so if whatever your number is, if it's less than 1, that's a reduction. If it's greater than 1, that's an enlargement. If it's proportional, it should get multiplied by the same thing. If it's non-proportional, it gets multiplied by different things. Okay. So this one is a proportional reduction. This one is a proportional enlargement. And this one is a non-proportional and then enlargement, because they're both getting multiplied by something greater than 1. But non-proportional because they're different. 2x, 5y, different. All right, number 5. Given the hexagon, what is the degree of rotation from side to side? So a full rotation is 360 degrees. We're divided into 6 sections. So 360 divided by 6 means that each section is 60. Okay. Number 6. A polygon was dilated with the center at 2, 4 and a scale factor of 2.5. If the coordinates of point K are negative 8, 10, what are the coordinates of point K prime? Okay, so what this question is going to have you do, when you're dilating something that's not at the origin, where the center is something else, like here our center is 2.4, it's a 3-step process. So first, you have to subtract the center from whatever you're dilating. Then you multiply by your scale factor. And last, you add back the center. Okay, so we're going to take this point, negative 8, 10, and we're going to do these 3 steps. So first, I'm subtracting the coordinate 2, 4. So negative 8 minus 2 leaves me with negative 10, and 10 minus 4 leaves me with 6. Step 2, we multiply by our scale factor, which is 2.5. Okay. Negative 10 times 2.5 gives us negative 25, and 6 times 2.5 gives us 15. Okay. Last, we add back the center that we subtracted in the beginning. So I'm going to add back the 2, 4. So negative 25 plus 2 gives us negative 23, and 15 plus 4 gives us 19. So that's our final coordinate. Negative 2319. Okay. A swallow leaves her nest for winter. She flies due west. Okay, so here's our directions. Northeast, southwest. Okay. So she flies due west for 5.2 miles and then due south for 3.1 miles. What is the approximate distance from her current position directly to her nest? So it's asking, what is this distance? Okay. So this is really a Pythagorean theorem problem where you're solving for the hypotenuse. Now I know that this is a Pythagorean theorem problem because you have at least two sides, so you can solve for the third side. If I only had one side, then I couldn't use Pythagorean theorem. So I do the square root of 5.2 squared plus 3.1 squared. This is what it should look like in your calculator. Okay, with everything underneath the square root. And we get that that's about 6.05. Or if I round to the tens place, that's about 6.1. Okay, number 8. This was one that a lot of my students missed on the last test. So it says, Colin and Michael are racing to get to class before tardy sweep. Colin follows the sidewalk right and then down. So this is where Colin went. He went over here, and then he went down here. Okay? But Michael cuts diagonally across the grass. So this is Michael. Okay. How much distance does Michael save? So it's pretty apparent just from looking at the picture that this is a Pythagorean theorem problem. You've got two legs. You're finding the hypotenuse. Okay? That's part of the problem. So the first part, we use Pythagorean theorem. The square root of 12 squared plus 5 squared gives us that our hypotenuse is 13. Okay? But a lot of students stop here, and I would bet that 13 is one of the answer choices on the test. So don't forget that it's asking for your final answer, how much did he save by going this way instead of going this way and then this way? So you have to add 12 plus 5. Okay. And then you subtract that from this length. 17 minus 13 means that he saved 4 feet by going diagonally instead of going this way and this way. All right, last one on the front. Classify the following triangles as right, acute, or obtuse. Okay, so there's 3 rules. If c squared is equal to your a squared plus b squared, that's Pythagorean theorem, so this is a right triangle. If c squared is greater than your a squared plus b squared, that's not a right triangle, that's an obtuse triangle. If c squared is less than your a squared plus b squared, then that's an acute triangle. Okay, so now you have to go in, find out what your c squared and a squared plus b squared is, and compare. Your c is always going to be the largest number. All right, so for the first one, 25 squared is 625. 7 squared plus 24 squared, also 625. So this is a right triangle. For this one, we know that 25 squared is is 625. 7 squared plus 24.5 squared is 649.25. So this time, my a squared plus b squared is bigger, okay? My c squared is smaller. That means this is acute. Okay, last one. 27 squared is 729. 7 squared plus 23 squared is 578. This time, our c squared is bigger. So this is obtuse. Okay. All right, I'm going to stop this video and start another video for the back page because this video is getting kind of long. So in order to get to the next video, click on the next video in the playlist.